Welcome back, everybody, to the Fruit of Grisaia. And last time we started this and we found out we got introduced to our new school. Just like my school, it has 6 people in it.
And none of them are normal? Even though it's a perfectly normal high school?
I mean, I guess a lot of people at our school were not normal. We definitely had a lot more than 6 people.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and I mean, examples of abnormal right here.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest here.
Dial 3 on the intercom and it'll get you. I mean, I guess that makes sense if there's like 6 people. This is like when the telephone was invented. Dial 3.
But is it a rotary phone? That's the real question.
Oh, I love those things. I haven't seen one in like a long time.
I know, it makes me wish I had kept a couple of the ones from my grandfather's house. Except for I don't have a landline, so it doesn't matter.
I know, it would do absolutely nothing. Got it.
それでは私はこれで失礼しますね。
That's okay, we're gonna keep talking about old-style phones.
I remember when TV was in black and white.
With that note of farewell, Sachi bows like a genuine housemaid and starts to turn away.
Sachi,
はい。
thanks for the tour. I appreciate it.
はい。
Alright. Scoring points. The class representatives these days seem to be a surprisingly tough-willed breed. That's an interesting assessment after the smile, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
After Sachi's tour ended, I took another look around the interior of the building on my own.
Unfortunately, the power was out. Oh, never mind, it's back.
That doesn't matter. We're all using sunlight at this point.
Photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis. Hey, we don't have to go to the cafeteria. By the time I return to my room, the sun is already low in the sky and the light growing dim.
I should probably put this stuff away before it gets dark.
Why? Okay, this is a weird thing of mine that probably doesn't make any sense. Why would you have it so the pillow is facing away from the door? Like, wouldn't you want the pillow facing toward the door?
We don't know what that door is to.
I think it's to the hallway.
Is it to the hallway or is it to like a connecting bathroom? Like a toilet?
Good point. I didn't think about that. If it's to the bathroom, then it's fine. But if it's to the hallway...
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that one.
How are you supposed to see the Babadook coming?
Yeah, exactly.
Opening my backpack, I pull out the contents and begin to put them away on the shelves I've been provided with. I didn't know we had shelves. It's a real help that I've got a closet. Or maybe that's
Didn't know we had a closet.
Surprise, surprise. Things I can leave in a visible place, and things to be stowed away in the back.
My magic card collection.
Precious. Dividing my possessions between the two, the latter are clearly more numerous.
Normal. Huh.
While looking over my mountain of luggage, I mutter in a self-deprecating tone.
Well, it probably should have been first, but sure.
Yeah. As I work, the sun sinks leisurely into the sea. Whoa, what a view. Mihama Academy school gate. I didn't see the rest of the details. I had to pick what was the most important detail. At my usual time, 4:45 a.m., I woke up in my usual way and ran the course I'd marked down mentally on my way here. Why do we sound like a horse? We sound like we're galloping.
It's like a high trot. It's like a faster trot, I could say. It's not like a gallop. Yeah.
Fair. To tell the truth, when I was stopped by the policeman yesterday, it was because I'd been wandering back and forth in the same place while planning out a possible marathon route. Oh, okay. I woke at the usual time, ran the usual time, and now I'm eating my usual breakfast menu. Muesli. No different from the days when I was living together with my master in the mountains, my standard tempo of living. If there is a difference, it's limited to the slight surprise I felt when I opened my eyes and found a roof over my head. This is an unfamiliar ceiling. Why does this keep happening to me? During my hike from Yamanashi, I'd gotten used to sleeping out in the open. So when I woke up inside a room, there was a slight feeling of unease as I thought, Right. I'm living in a dorm now. That mild discomfort hasn't disappeared even now as I'm eating my corn cereal. It's hard to settle down inside a new layer until it's integrated in with your scent. Okay, are we a bear?
Alright.
Even so, I'll start living at this tempo every day from now on, going to school every morning, so there's no real need to rush things. If I actively spend every day packing myself with potentially useful knowledge, someday this sort of lifestyle might come naturally to me.
Hey, you're in school. I'm not sure you're really going to get useful knowledge, but sure.
I don't know. With 6 people, I feel like you could have a pretty focused education, so maybe it'd be good.
Yeah, if the teachers are good, it would be legit a good place.
Watch the teachers be as weird as the students.
Oh, that would be something.
That's what I'm counting on. The effort strikes me as a little troublesome, but as my master once told me, when it comes to your life and your women, a little bit of trouble is just about right. Was your master Master Roshi?
He also taught me the turtle wave.
Speaking of women, they're a simple bunch, but that doesn't make them any less difficult to handle. That feels insulting. Wow. Okay, a little bit of a...
Didn't know he was based.
Yeah, okay. I learned that much my first year living with my master. In my master's words, when you're a brat, running fast is enough to make you popular. When you're a middle schooler, the guy who can fight will be popular. And after that, it's the guys with the brains who get the girls. In other words, run, punch, and read books, and you'll never run dry. What do you think? Short and sweet, right? That was her theory, at least. Oh, it's a woman.
Oh, okay.
I wish I had known that before I did that entire thing. Would have done that totally different.
You know what happens.
The things she said were always ridiculously simplistic. Honestly, I ignored those words with a snort the first time I heard them, but my master was a woman who put her beliefs into practice. Every morning she made me run, and every day she'd hit me with a stack of books.
Metaphorically, but also literally.
I misread that at first as a stack of boots, and I was thinking, are they for polishing, or what's... Books makes more sense.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, you can hit someone with a boot.
But a stack of boots?
Yeah, that's true.
Who throws a shoe, honestly? Although I don't know if she's to blame, I still run 16 kilometers every morning and habitually read books whenever I have free time. Okay, that is determination that I do not have as I sit here, stand here in my pajamas drinking coffee. Sometimes she was harsh. Sometimes she was sweet. She would emit an abrasive, overpowering aura at times, but every once in a while she could be so gentle that I thought my brain would melt out my ears. That was my master, a woman with a sizable build who was nonetheless very picky about the little things. I've had a hard time dealing with large women ever since those days, but being aware of that fact doesn't mean I can fix it. Okay, I feel like this is foreshadowing.
Yeah, there's got to be at least one.
Yeah. It's not that I dislike them on a conscious level, but whenever I see a tall woman, I can't help but feel wary out of pure instinct. If you ask me why I'm bringing this up all of a sudden, well, that would be because I've just been reminded that there's a large woman at this school as well.
I'm just imagining it being the,
そんなに強くしたらダメなの
I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume this isn't the large woman.
No, I'm gonna guess that from the voice. I'm imagining it being like a much younger version of what's her name from Harry Potter, the female who was the head of like Bobaton.
Oh, I can't remember her name either.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I hope that the large woman is this woman because that would just be really funny.
That would be great.
こら逃げるなじっとしてなさいよもうつかラメって言うな
Alright. Since this place is a student dormitory, it's of course only natural that a community of students would already be living here, and it's entirely probable that they have their own rules that I don't know yet. Also, I'm a country hick fresh from the rural areas of Yamanashi, so it goes without saying that I'm poorly versed in the customs and rituals of this land.
Oh boy, you probably shouldn't have said that. I might change your voice.
Well, I tell you what now. What are y'all doing out here?
Why'd he get a lot older?
I don't know. What are y'all doing out here? Is that better?
I like how he's slowly getting further south. Like, he started out in, like, the Appalachians, and he's just working his way south by the end of this. It'll be like, how you doing out here? He's just gonna be from, like,
You
the
coming down the
bayou.
bayou? That actually was going to be my next progression. I was thinking maybe a little bit more Southern genteel, but that doesn't fit with the hick.
No.
I have no way of penetrating the depths of significance that might be hiding in an action that, at a glance, looks to be a simple case of bullying.
What game's this? What are the rules?
I'm pretty sure she's just brushing her hair, but okay.
Eh?
The puzzled faces staring back at me are familiar. It's the little girl / big woman combo I arbitrarily named the Cicada Sisters when I first arrived at the school yesterday. That is actually a great title.
Actually.
誰?
Who do you think?
Can we not just answer a question with a straight answer?
質問に質問を返すのはバカの証拠だって誰かが言ってたよね。
Ooh. Is that timing though?
Oh, that's so. I suppose that means I'm irredeemably stupid. Please call me moron boys as if we've been friends for 10 years, Cicada Sisters.
セミ姉妹?
I saw the pair of you from the gate yesterday. One of you was swinging a cicada around and the other was shrieking, if I remember correctly.
変なとこ見られたな。あれはまあ、なんだ、その、忘れ
No
て。
promises.
Not a chance.
I'll see what I can do.
Tap, tap, tap. Memory deleted.
あ、ねえ、もしかして今日転入してくる学生って君?
I was the new student transferring in yesterday. Yeah, Kazumi Yuuji. Good to meet you.
I thrust out my right hand, but the tall woman in front of me doesn't show any signs of grasping it. She's stiffened on the spot, staring fixedly at my face. It looks as though she's even forgotten to breathe.
Something wrong?
そうか、握手か、ごめん。
The big woman's frozen expression suddenly melts, and she lightly shakes my hand.
My hand breaks.
Ugh! It's an unexpectedly small, but decidedly cold hand.
風見ユージ? ふん、ユージくんか。なるほどね。私はスオアマネ。はじめまして、ユージくん。ほら、マキナ。あんたも自己紹介は? Why do I? 別に噛みつきゃしないわよ。名前は?
You don't know that.
Oh, we did not tell you that.
マキナ。イリス・マキナ。
Iris Makina.
Iris is a Greek god. Boy, this feels really heavy-handed considering what we just finished.
Yeah.
And isn't Makina a Latin word? Literally translated, it would be something like Mecha Rainbow Goddess. Would it? Okay.
What country are you from?
What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and
They
what?
speak English and what?
耳で聞くと確かにそう聞こえるかもしれないけど、漢字で書くと入り江の入りに巣鴨の巣、種まきのまきにナッパの名でイリス・マキナ。日本人だよ。
Wasn't she speaking English just now?
ああ、この子言語やがちょっとね。それに親の都合で6歳まで海外を飛び回ってたから。
She just starts speaking in Spanish randomly.
That would be great. I would love it. Or she just goes into like Esperanto for some reason.
You'd still be fine.
I feel like that's an easy thing to understand considering someone just like invented it.
True.
I see. Well, good to meet you.
Aw.
Or not.
She's hiding. Staring at my outstretched hand in silence, Makina clings to Amane's back as if trying to hide herself.
What's wrong?
ああ、ごめん。この子人見知りが激しいっていうか、男の子に慣れてないのよ。病院生活が長かったってのもあって、同世代の男の子が珍しいっていうか、どう接すればいいのかわからないみたいなのよね。
Well, you could teach us how to lasso cicadas. That's a good bonding topic.
I know how to get her to be less shy, so we just need to get some food in her hand. And just,
Just wait for her to approach.
Mhm. Huh.
I withdraw the hand I'd been holding out toward Makina.
Well, there's no need to force her to deal with me in the first place, I guess.
いいのよ。そうやって甘やかすといつまで経ってもこのままなんだから。ほらマキナ、握手は？
Okay.
うーじゃないわよ。ちゃんと挨拶できない子はおやつあげないわよ。
Hey, you were right. All you need is snacks.
Yep.
Is don't get any snacks supposed to be an effective threat in this day and age? Or so I thought. But hearing those words, Makina bites her lips tightly and extends her right hand toward me with a strained expression. I gently clasp her small hand and put on the natural-looking fake smile I learned from my master.
I'm Kazumi Yuuji. Good to meet you.
イリス・マキナです。
This just reminds me of when SpongeBob and Patrick think they're criminals.
Oh, yeah.
When he stops shaking my hand, I'm gonna run.
Yeah, that might actually be what happens in this situation. Or at least hide back behind her friend again. Her voice is small and marked by a distinct lisp. Her hand is as tiny as her body, and it's hot like that of a child.
ねえ、怖くないでしょ？挨拶だけじゃなくて、他に何かお話ししたいことは？好きな動物は何ですか？
Portuguese man of war.
That's not a dog.
I like dogs. Oh, what about it?
へえ、答えてから質問するのね。
I feel like the more appropriate response would be, what about you? But sure. Instead, he answers like he's being cross-examined.
Hey, what about it?
What's wrong with liking dogs, huh? You got a problem with that?
I'm not really the indecisive sort. I don't hesitate when I need to come up with an answer, and even more so when I have an important decision to make.
Ooh, that's a good character note right there.
Compared to failing without even trying, I'd rather take action, even at the risk of a mistake.
It reminds me of a director I worked with previously. He said, if you're gonna fuck up running.
Makes sense.
かっこいい。
Are you mocking me?
まさか。
And why'd you laugh?
It's a defense mechanism. Don't make it weird.
なんでだろうね。
Too late.
You know, I've heard answering a question with another question is a sign of stupidity.
Uno reverse.
あらそう。じゃあきっと私はバカなのね。これからは10年来の友達のようにバカねと呼んでちょうだい。
Okay, I like her. She turns it
Me too.
around.
Got it, moron girl.
今はまだ笑ってるけど、次呼んだら怒るよ。
Oh no, it's a rivalry now.
What a troublesome woman.
あれ、もう行っちゃうの？
I don't feel like being late on my first day.
授業が始まるまでまだ1時間はあるわよ。
I'm used to waiting. I'll kill some time sightseeing or something.
Oh look, a wall. And over there, another wall.
それが悪いとは言わないけど、変わってるね。
I get that a lot. Well, I'll see you in class.
あ、ユージくん、ちょっと待って。
What?
私からも一つ質問していいかな？
You just did. Bye.
If it's something I can answer.
その。
Um,
That was fitting.
it's that kind of game?
I believe it is, actually.
It is. That's what I.
ごめん、やっぱいいや。
Well, I mean, if you got something to say, spit it out. No need to hold back.
また後で聞くわ。もう少し考えをまとめてから。
I see.
Ominous. I don't understand the thought patterns of large women. He sounds like he's in a nature documentary. The behavioral patterns of large women confuse and astound me. My master would probably say, if you don't understand by now, you never will. But my own thoughts are more along the lines of, even if I could understand, why bother? All right, then.
Well, then.
Having said that to Amane, I'm confronted with the fact that there are no sights particularly worth seeing here. Hall. There's easily an hour until the start of class. I've obviously woken up too early. Well, still better than being late, I guess.
This guy would never make it in, like, Spain or any country that just doesn't show up on time.
No, but he'd be great in theater.
Yeah. Might as well wait in the classroom.
Right after I mumble those words, just as I begin walking down the hallway,
The alarm's going off. What the?
as I'm making my way toward the classroom the principal had described yesterday, I hear something resembling a scream? No, not a scream exactly. Sounds more like a large bird. An agitated bird.
The hell?
Although it doesn't seem to be an emergency situation, I'm certainly a bit concerned by this sound. It's dramatically out of place in the otherwise quiet morning schoolhouse. For the time being, I decide to approach. This is the strangest vocal warm-up I've ever heard. When I peer inside through the hallway window, I find a single woman shouting in the direction of the blackboard. Judging from the fact that she's wearing a uniform, it would seem that she's a student here like Sachi, Amane, and Makina. Apparently oblivious to my presence, she continues her routine.
ウォーミングアップ終わり。じゃあ次。
Oh, I was right. After deeply inhaling,
せーの。あえいうえおあお、あえいうえおあお、あえいうえおあお。
I love that system of a down song. All in one breath, she firmly lets...
That was really good.
Thank you.
I legit didn't see that joke coming.
I mean, it is a System of a Down song, it just doesn't sound like that.
I mean, you're not wrong. That may be the best joke we've had in a long while.
All in one breath, she firmly lets loose a string of syllables, familiar as a vocal tuning exercise.
よーし、一息で言えた。いいぞ、私。いや、私。
What?
私、うん。私の言うことが聞けないっていうの？
Okay.
なんか違うな。こんなんじゃ全然ダメだ。コホン。私の言うことが聞けないっていうの？今のは良かったと思う。じゃあ次。
Is this for tsundere training class or something?
あんたのためにやってるんじゃないんだからね。
Okay, apparently it is. While staring at the memo pad in her hand, she awkwardly but forcefully rattles off phrases one after the other. It seems like it'd be best to ask her what she's doing directly.
This the broadcasting club? So that's a yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna say so. In response to my question, or more likely my entrance, the woman leaps up in shock and draws back a good 3 meters.
Hey, you can't leave now that I entered your site. We gotta have a Pokemon battle.
Desks and chairs clatter dramatically in her wake.
Now, I might have been hasty to assume that from the vocal exercises. The drama club seems plausible as well. You seem to be saying some kind of lines.
Fair.
誰ですかじゃなくて、誰なの
Just as I'm getting ready to rephrase my question, the woman preempts me with her own.
Me? Kazumi Yuuji. I'll be transferring here as of today.
転校生この学校に
Yeah.
Nodding, I walk a few steps forward and stand in front of the woman.
So, were you doing some kind of rehearsal after all? I'm sorry if I interrupt.
The tooth.
演技なんかしてないすよっすだから何の遠慮もしなくていいのいや遠慮しなさい
Are you sure this is who you are? I'm not sure that you are sure.
Which is it?
いいからそこに座りなさいよ
I don't quite follow, but if I start asking questions, she'll probably get even noisier, so I choose the path of least resistance.
慌てない転校生なんだからファーストコンタクトがとても大事よ頑張りなさいミチル
I think that ship may have sailed.
That ship sailed, it hit something, and it sank.
After I flop down on a chair, the woman mutters to herself in a low but perfectly audible voice.
私は松島ミチルよろしくね
In contrast, she delivers her self-introduction with an artificial brightness.
That's so. Initials. M. Huh.
そうよだからってド M ってわけじゃないんだからね
Okay.
What? You know, nobody said anything remotely like that.
But I guess if you have to protest it...
あごめんなさいじゃないそう聞きそうに見えたのよ
Oh, this is going to be fun. Every conversation, she's going to get halfway through a thought and then just change her mind.
Do you want to be called a masochist badly?
したくないわよつかなんでそうなるの
Quite an energetic woman. She drops the subject and forges boldly on ahead.
そう私はこのクラスで委員長的なことをしているわだから何か困ったことがあったら私に相談してもいいのよ
Okay, that was going to be my third guess, with her being kind of a class representative type.
What does sorta mean?
それは委員長は他にいるからよその辺融通は聞かせなさいよ
Fair enough.
妙に物分かりがいいわねまあいいわそれと
The woman's voice suddenly grows quieter.
前もって聞いておくけどあなたは冗談が通じる方
I wouldn't call myself an enthusiast.
聞いておいてよかった
She clears her throat affectedly.
じゃああなたは私のことを特別に名前で呼んでいいことにするわ本当なら様付けで呼ばなきゃいけないんだけど許してあげる
Thank you.
やばなんかまずいこと言っちゃったかなテンプレではこれでいいはずなんだけどやっぱり様付けとか言わない方が良かったのかももうその辺の
Can we see the template? I'm really curious at this point.
Mm-hmm.
今のもう一回やりの
You want to call you want me to call you Michiru? Yes.
そうよそれでいいのそれで
Good, I'm glad we worked that out. She hums to herself and nods emphatically, apparently satisfied with this result. Next, she takes a colorful wafer of some sort out of a container and crunches down on it vigorously. Is she training herself? Like, is that her reward pouch?
What are you eating?
あげないわよ。
Okay.
Wasn't asking, just wondering what those were.
ただのラムネ菓子よ。それがどうかしたの？
They're Michiru snacks.
I'm sorry. That's so. I mean, from the way you were showing them off, I was pretty sure you wanted me to ask.
うるさいわね。あんたに見せるためにやったんじゃないわよ。
Hey, you didn't have to think about that one.
なんか今のうまくいった。多分今のそうよね。結構良かったよね。案外私素質あるのかも。
So you just woke up this morning and decided, you know, I think I'm going to be a tsundere now.
You know, working out pretty well.
Actually, I got a strange sense of deja vu from her phrasing just now. What was it? One of those long advertisements they put up inside trains? Since I don't ride them often, the few I've seen stand out in my memory. Right, they reprinted this idiotic article from a woman's magazine about how to make men fall for you. Purposefully treat them coldly at first in order to create a contrast for your affection when you make your move.
何いきなり考え込んでるのよ。
How to take over the world.
でこういう時はなんだっけ。私の美しさにぼーっとなっちゃう気持ちも。でそれってなんか違うキャラよね。そうじゃなくて
She can't even keep her archetypes straight.
So you're supposed to be a tsundere.
違うわよ。いや違う。そうなんだけどって嘘。いきなり言っちゃうわけそれ。
No, tsundere, not thunder. Michiru covers her mouth with her left hand and staggers backward in apparent shock. Her reaction is a bit puzzling, but I think I probably hit the bullseye.
I see. Okay, I think I understand. You're playing a tsundere in an attempt to attract male attention. Yes?
Back to the vocal warm-ups.
Okay, but there's still some points I'm not clear on. Like, the hair. Why are you bleaching it?
これは地毛よ。
Please, a genuine blonde has a more natural tone, not that artificially looking gold hair. I mean, I've known a few.
I don't know, King Koi would have us believe otherwise.
うるさいわね。ヘアマニキュアでいい色合いのがなかったのよ。
Oh, she outed herself.
Well, that's so. Okay, next time I happen to visit America, remind me to pick you up some better hair dye. So as I was saying, why bleach it? And the hairstyle's a little odd too. I mean, it's not one that I see often.
そう決まってるんだから仕方ないでしょ。
The way what has to be?
ツンデレには呪いがあるのよ。
Michiru begins to mumble her words under her breath as if to enumerate the curse's power.
私は地の髪の色が濃いからブリーチかけても一日放っておかないとダメだし、市販のだと皮膚が荒れちゃうから豊橋のメーカーが作ってるのをわざわざネットで取り寄せてるし、正直めんどくさいわよ。
Have you considered going to a different salon?
Do you consider just leaving it black?
Yeah. That she has to describe the tsundere curse in the first person seems a bit strange, but pointing that out would only prolong this, so I leave it be.
でも金髪でツインテールで、そうじゃないと本当のツンデレとは認めてもらえない。
Well, okay, I can't argue with that.
だけど私、いや私を出すにはこれしかないの。だからそれは否定しちゃいけないのよ。
This is me now. Michiru jabs out an index finger in my direction, and...
ツンデレは金髪ツインテールなの。わかった？いや、わかれ！
As she runs out of breath in grand style, the curtain finally drops on Michiru's one-woman show. The echoing of her ragged breathing is the only sound in the otherwise silent classroom. Exactly 30 seconds pass.
なんで無言なのよ。
2. Not 30 seconds yet. 3. Stop being a tsundere. Got it.
There's no pleasing you, is there? I'm not sure if that wasn't what she was looking for, or if she's just lost the will to go on. But Michiru glares at me while emitting a sound reminiscent of a malfunctioning industrial machine.
Anyway, let's get along, Michiru.
よろしくないわよ。あんた一人でよろしくすればいいじゃない。
Can I wait until I get back to my room?
Yeah, goes without saying. Plan to just get along fine on my own.
そこはセオリー通りにちゃんと戸惑ってよ、バカ。
I can try.
It really isn't easy being a tsundere, is it?
もういい。帰れ。
She used flail. Finally breaking down, Michiru begins flinging waste paper, permanent markers, and anything else lying around in my direction in an attempt to drive me off.
Are you crying? Oh, sorry, my bad.
泣いてない、バカ。
They were crocodile tears. My attempt at an apology seems to have only fueled her anger. So in the end, I decide a temporary withdrawal is in fact called for. Class is starting in another 15 minutes, but it should be fine. I'll just kill time somewhere else.
おはよう。おはようございます。
5 minutes before the start of class, practically the moment after I re-enter the classroom, Amane and Sachi arrive. The tsundere from earlier is looking at me with naked aggression, but noticing the arrival of the others.
おはよう、アマネ、サチ。
Oh, I did pronounce her name right. Cool. Resuming the performance in question, she promptly calls out to them.
おはようございます、ミチル様。
Okay, that's an interesting greeting. The instant her greeting is returned, Michiru runs over noisily and shakes her hand in front of Sachi.
どうかしたんですか？サチ、あんたそれやめてって言ったでしょ？ミチル様っての。でも、これはミチル様が絶対にそう呼べって言ったから。だからあれはその冗談で、一度物理フォーマットしてもう一回入れ直せない？ね。
So she is a robot. I was right. Michiru, while glancing over in my direction for some reason, desperately entreats Sachi. I don't know why her picture just kind of popped up randomly. That was fascinating. Amane, leaning on a desk, seems to be occupied with trying to hold in her laughter.
そんな絶対って言ったから。だから私。
Oh.
Wait a minute, robots can't cry. She must be an android then.
泣かないで。とりあえず今だけこれ命令。
It reminds me of
泣きません。
it was the one with the thing longer, right? As a robot, I can't feel feelings, and sometimes that makes me sad.
That might have been that episode, I can't remember. I'm still not convinced that she's actually human.
I know now why you cry, but it is something that I can never do.
The instant Michiru speaks, Sachi's tears abruptly vanish as if someone threw a switch. Michiru watches her cautiously, sweating heavily.
はあ、わかったわよ。特に何も規制とかしないから好きに呼べばいいじゃない。はい、ミチル様。
It's like it never happened. Michiru staggers her way back to her seat. With all the vitality of a limp rag.
You feeling alright, Michiru-sama?
殺すわよ。
Good luck with that.
Sorry, just wanted to give it a try.
うー。
Michiru collapses weakly onto her desk.
おはよ
Makina's lisping voice sounds from the rear of the classroom. Seems like she might not be used to my presence yet, judging from the way she beelines straight for Amane, hides herself behind her, and steals glimpses at me.
う。おはよ あんたの人見知りというか男見知りは本当に筋金入りね。
It could be both.
マキナ、大丈夫よ。ちょっとムカつくとこもあるけど、こいつはそんな危ない人間じゃなさそう。
That almost sounded like something resembling a compliment.
Appreciate it, Michiru.
別にあんたのためにしたわけじゃないわよ。
Hey, that was a good one.
Hey!
決まった今のは綺麗に決まった
I didn't have to say anything. She was going to self-congratulate.
All right. Keep up the good work.
Don't forget to get your snack. Apart from the large woman, this bunch seems to present quite a variety of communication difficulties.
I love how he just calls her the large woman.
I feel like this is going to be a great running joke.
Nothing but fantastically normal students here, eh, Principal?
As if in response to my sarcasm, with the chiming of the opening bell,
おはよ
the perfectly normal principal appears before my eyes.
Trademark. Wait a second. There's only 4.
As we've arrived at the beginning of the school day, I notice a difference from the information I'd heard yesterday.
みんな揃ってるわねってわけでもないか。やっぱり
Standing at the podium, the principal notices the irregularity at a glance.
榊さんは今日はお休みかしら？
Her tone seems to be asking if anyone's familiar with her circumstances.
今日も重役出勤じゃないかしら。ここんとこずっとそうだし。
Huh.
確かに最近は夕方からしか来なくなっちゃったわね。ユミちゃんどうしたのかな。何かあったんでしょうか。
Apparently, I'm not the only one with questions about our lone truant.
まあいいわ。風見くんの紹介もしたかったけど、そのうちに会えるでしょ。
Watch it be in the bath or something like that.
You're strangely tolerant.
ちょっといろいろとあってね。じゃあ出席を取ります。
Is she a vampire? From an open window, the scent of the tide flows into the room. Perhaps because of the walls and the steel fences surrounding us on all sides, it's not always easy to remember that this place is, in fact, close to the sea. In contrast to the breeze and the blue sky's intimations of freedom, the gray of those jutting fences speaks of denial and rejection. While my classmates raise their voices energetically, I pass the time staring into that sky.
School life, huh?
ここが視聴覚教室です。すべての席にリスニングとヒアリングの機材が揃えられていて、語学学習にも適しています。
That's cool.
Looks that way. I can tell from a glance this place is well equipped.
Using the time after the homeroom period, I'm getting a small introduction to the school's facilities from Sachi. Normally, this would be the principal's job, but she seems to be occupied with official duties, so I end up getting another tour from our class rep.
ライブラリはすべて外部にあるサーバーと高速回線でつながっていて、いつでも短時間で検索し鑑賞することができます。
Nice.
だからここには DVD とかブルーレイとかは一本もないんです。
There hasn't been a stock of DVDs in a while.
I mean, it could be worse.
True.
It could be a lot worse.
Betamax everywhere.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. Our stock of laser discs is
Oh, man.
far none the best in the world. Which would make checking out a movie impossible, I guess.
そうですね。Amaneさんはそれで前に残念がってました。
Sachi smiles a bit wryly as she speaks. Most of this stuff is probably in that pamphlet somewhere, but Sachi's explanations are comparatively to the point, clear and easy to understand. It seems she's actually quite intelligent.
過去に放送されたテレビ番組も全部ではありませんが鑑賞することができます。ないものについては請求して承認されればサーバーに入れてもらえますので。
Okay. Looks like they weren't that sloppy on the casting after all.
何のドラマの話ですか？
The school drama currently being broadcast.
うーん
I do not understand humor. That is not in my programming.
以上になります。
Having completed a general review of the school's facilities, Sachi's explanations come to an end.
Thanks. It was a big help.
いえ、これもクラス委員の仕事ですから。
I guess so.
それより風見さんはまだここに残るんですか？
Yeah, there's still a classmate I haven't met after all.
あ、そうですね。
Why do you seem disappointed about that? Hearing my response, Sachi's brisk tone gives way to a hesitant mumble.
あの、
What?
Is this where you give me an ominous warning?
いえ、なんでもないです。すみません。
Close. After a brisk bow, she quickly runs off down the hallway.
Did I trigger a death flag just now?
I don't think that there's a single person in the world who wouldn't worry after that kind of ominous foreshadowing. Well, that might be an overstatement. There are some pretty carefree people out there. I'm just not one of them.
Seems like it would be best to be on my guard, or, more so than usual.
The light flooding in through the windows has shifted from overhead to my side. It won't be that long until the sun sets. After parting from Sachi, I walk the empty hallway alone. My surroundings are very nearly soundless thanks to my habitually quiet footsteps. However, inside the stillness, I sense a definite presence at my destination.
She finally shows up.
I hear a faint sound from the interior of the previously silent classroom. With that confirmation, I slowly open the door. Hello there. The moment I enter the classroom, tension fills the air. Behind a window seat desk in the middle of the classroom, a chair rattles as its occupant turns to face me. My immediate impression of the girl, she doesn't appear particularly friendly.
Yo!
That's an interesting approach. While it might not be the most polite first greeting, I call out casually as I approach in order to demonstrate my lack of malicious intent.
Sakaki Yumiko, right?
Her expression doesn't change. Sitting on the chair, absolutely stock still, she stares fixedly at me.
I'm Kazumi Yuuji. I'm the new student here as of today.
I come to a halt in front of her desk.
So I'll be your classmate as well, it seems.
Pulling out a chair from the desk in front of her, I sit down. At the moment, we're about a meter apart. Nonetheless, the woman stares at me so tensely that she seems to be forgetting to breathe. Rather than staring, her expression could probably be more accurately described as glaring.
I wasn't able to introduce myself in the morning. I heard you'd probably be around in the evening.
I keep talking regardless, but no response is forthcoming. Maybe she's got a psychological problem with men, like Makina? But then again, she didn't try to run when I approached her. I changed my position on the seat to face her directly.
Staring contest?
Stare. Straddling the chair, I lean forward slightly. The motion has closed the 1 meter gap between us down to about 70 centimeters.
I'd like to at least confirm your identity.
Okay, bye.
Hey!
As if to declare her refusal to acknowledge my existence, the woman stands from her seat and briskly moves to exit the classroom.
How about at least responding to me?
I follow her immediately. The woman opens the classroom's rear door just enough for one person to pass and tries to slip her way outside.
Hey!
Calling out again, I try to follow her through that gap. In that moment, the woman forcefully slams the door shut. She clearly closed it, knowing full well that I was trying to follow. Her expression betrays surprise. Maybe she'd been expecting me to get my hand caught in the door or to back off from having it slammed in my face. Instead, the door she'd attempted to slide closed is firmly held open by my hand, an outcome she apparently hadn't been prepared for.
Hey, you could have broken my hand, you know that?
I think that was the intent. Although she's the one who was trying to shatter my fingers, she's glaring at me like I'm the bad guy here. What exactly did I do to deserve this from someone I've just met?
I'm just looking for an introduction.
Opening the half-shut door, I take a step forward. She doesn't back down.
Quite the greeting.
I stop the motion of her hand about 5 centimeters before its target. It isn't the most efficient block, but for the purpose of diffusing her reckless hostility, an easily comprehensible action seems necessary.
I was expecting something of the sort, but you favored the classic slap to the face, I see.
Maintaining my grasp on the woman's wrist, I stare her down at short range. As for the woman, she's staring right back, her eyes open wide with shock, completely still.
Well then, let me ask you again.
The strong orange glow of the evening sun illuminates the classroom.
Are you Sakaki Yumiko?
Her expression hostile as ever, the woman slowly opens her mouth. With an air of slight resignation, but clearly unwavering in her refusal of any relation with me, she speaks.
そうだけど。
Okay, good to meet you.
As the evening sun fell behind a cloud, its light dimmed, and the classroom filled with shadow. With the sound of Yumiko's breath and the faint roar of the waves from beyond the walls, the curtain was raised on my normal student life. And opening credits? I was right. I have no idea if we'll actually be able to show those or not. I will find out later.
That is a good question.
Also, it's kind of low res, but I think this is actually the maximum resolution for this game. Considering it's, 15 years old at this point? I guess that's fair.
Yeah. That's fair. It really is.
So it seems like we've got our work cut out for us with this cast of characters. Definitely up to some initial tension, especially with those last two.
Yeah. It'll be fine.
Oh yeah, it's all gonna work out in the end. At least on their routes.
Yep. I wonder how we get on routes.
I don't know. Apparently, from looking at VNDB and a couple of other areas, it looks like this is a pretty choice-centric game to navigate down the routes, but I don't know if it's like the style for Cafe Stella or if it's more like Magikoi or something like that. I'm really not sure.
Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. I think a lot of it hopefully will be intuitive.
It could be a situation where the first route is kind of a random and then we plan to go in specific ways. Of course, if anybody in the comments wants to give us some recommendations or insight, we're all for it. The interval between classes, or recess, is fundamentally a time for lazing around. Given a half-assed 10-minute break, most people won't be able to put it to any real use. I myself imagined a school life along those relaxed lines, and was looking forward to spending some aimless time right around now. But
What? Again?
oh, she's trying to kill us. That's fun. That slightly pitiful hope was shattered all too quickly. Of course, I'm not going to break a sweat from any attack of Yumiko's, but being slashed at with a blade isn't the kind of pleasant breather I had in mind.
なんで今のが避けられるの？
I guess she had thought it a particularly well-timed attack, judging from the shocked gaze she's directing at me as she catches her breath. Of course, given that conspicuous clicking sound and her plainly audible footsteps, she might as well have been screaming, "Here I come," but...
Time moves at half speed in my immediate vicinity.
It's my superpower. Giving a straight answer would be a pain, so I pull something out of my ass.
嘘。
Wait, do you really believe that?
Yeah. I'm just screwing with you.
バカにしたわね。許せない。
Not today.
You know, maybe it's just me, but I think trying to stab your classmate is, somewhat worse.
Also, a box cutter, not the most efficient way to do that.
事実としてそうなってないんだから、無罪よ。
You know, she's got... Well, actually, hold on.
No, attempted.
Yeah, I was about to say.
This woman's copy of the criminal code seems to be missing the page on attempted murder. But judging from the way she momentarily bought my nonsense, she's unexpectedly airheaded. Maybe a bit naive would be a nicer way to put it.
覚えてなさい。
It's hard to forget.
You know, there's only 6 of us here. It'd be harder to forget.
またバカにした。そういうことじゃないわよ。
Still glaring at my direction, Yumiko retracts the blade of her box cutter. And snorting in displeasure, leaves with a fluttering of her skirt. Good talk.
ユージくんもやってきて早々災難ね。
When I return to the classroom, Amane strikes up a conversation. I guess the story of the knife assault in question has already spread around the classroom, as my problem with Yumiko seems to be common knowledge.
I mean, it's not like she's doing me any harm, but I can't say I'm enjoying this.
She is trying, though. Alright. In our first encounter, I approached the stubbornly silent Yumiko in a physical sense. The outcome was her initial act of rejection. In part, that might have been the result of my own heightened wariness. Sachi's heavy-handed foreshadowing put me on guard, and I have the tendency not to trust someone I'm meeting for the first time. At that time, while I certainly felt animosity from her, it wasn't so intense as to discourage me from approaching. However, from our second encounter on, Yumiko bared open hostility toward me. What's worse, apparently having come to the conclusion that she wasn't a match for me bare-handed, she's been swinging around a box cutter, of all things. According to Amane, it seems that Yumiko has something of a habit of brandishing retractable knives at people. Oh, so this is a known thing.
Oh,
Well,
okay. You know what? That makes me feel better.
that's an interesting personality quirk. Of course, her goal is usually more intimidation than anything else, but speaking as the target this time, I can sense there's a part of her that's seriously trying to stab me. It's not the best feeling in the world.
ライバルとして認められたってことじゃないのかな。あの子、うちらには威嚇の意味で歯を出したりはするけど、本当に切りつけたりはしないし。
Oh, so she does it to you all too. Okay. That's unsettling.
Oh, look, we have a rival. You know, I'd really prefer to avoid that kind of recognition.
いきなり接近しようとするからよ。近寄ってわからなかった？あの子の周りに強烈に張られたバリア。
Doesn't work.
You know, didn't notice.
ユージくんって強そうに見えるけど、鈍感さは命取りになりそうね。
I'm pretty perceptive when my life's in danger, but I don't really feel that level of threat from Yumiko.
ユージ君って普通の恋愛とかちゃんとできるの？
You'd be surprised.
Hey, we might go about down your route. Don't say that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my master did say I was exceptionally unskilled in that department.
師匠？
At any rate, I want to do something about Yumiko's aggressive rejection of me. For that purpose, I'll need to talk to someone familiar with her circumstances.
はいはーい、ホームルームを始めるわよ。
With the attendance book in her hand as usual, our carefree principal appears.
I guess Chizuru's the only one I can ask. In conclusion, Yumiko seems to hate me with a passion.
Also, she's trying to kill me.
榊さんがどうかはともかく、あなたが嫌われる理由はよくわかるわ。
Oh, so you're not going to be any help at all.
Alright, let's hear it.
じゃないわよ。事情を知っていて暇そうなのは学園長ぐらいしかいないと思ったから聞きに来たって。わざわざ宣言して部屋に入ってくるとか何考えてるのよ。
As far as we know, none of the other teachers have portraits, so we can't talk to them.
You know, I only said what I was thinking. Was I wrong?
違うわよ。一応。
Got it. Okay, in deference to your feelings, no matter how much I think you're lazing around, I'll keep it quietly buried in my heart from now on. Good enough?
After this one very insulting statement.
そんなこと言われたら疑心暗鬼になるだけでしょ。
What do you want from me? Okay, spare me the vague complaints. What's your pleasure?
だから嫌われるのよ。
Do you have an idea?
なんでも。で、質問の答えだけど。
The principal, cup in hand, lowers herself across from the sofa I'm reclining on.
榊さんはこの学園の創設以来の学生なの。
I was about to say, I have no frame of reference for that.
Yeah.
This place just opened recently, right?
ほぼね。一応学園の設立は今から1年前ぐらいだから。
So what you're saying is she's territorial.
彼女はその時からここにいるのよ。
I see. What does that have to do with her rejecting me?
Before responding to my question, she takes a sip of coffee from the cup in her hand.
自分のテリトリーに入ってくるのが怖いんでしょ。
Huh. Okay, well, I said that as a joke.
All right. Frightening?
そう。これまでは自分の認識できるものしかここには来なかったのに、いきなり異性の、それも得体の知れない人間が自分の近くに入り込んできた。
Principal Tachibana takes a pen in her empty hand and jabs it toward me to emphasize her point. Oh no, now she's threatening us.
なので排除しようとした。ってことじゃないかしら。
And this is acceptable behavior?
Hazing, is it? A bit of bullying comes with being a fresh recruit, but I didn't expect the same here.
いじめにしては、いじめられる側が強力すぎるけどね。
Apparently unconvinced by the idea of Sakaki stealing my lunch money, Principal Tachibana hides a snort of laughter behind her hand. Although it's certainly amusing, considering the balance of our physical strength, I don't see how I can manage a decent student life at this rate.
I'm honored to have provided a moment of amusement for our perpetually overworked principal, but I came here hoping to have a path towards overcoming this challenge, illuminated by your educational guidance.
Well, you're going to leave disappointed.
あなた、実は私をいじめる目的でここに来たんでしょ。
We don't have a box cutter. Cranky from the beginning to the end, ultimately the principal didn't provide me with any useful advice. This is what school life is like, so figure it out yourself. A normal school life means a few problems like this. I do have to admit that she managed to dodge the issue reasonably well with that last line. In any case, since she didn't have any clear answer for me, I'm left with no choice but to do as she says and try to work on this over time.
That's fair, I guess.
Yeah, it'll work or it won't. It's not really my style to go with the flow like this, But if it's the proposal of my educational guide, then there's no helping it.
スパーリングみたいになってきたわね。
新兵を手のひらの上であしらう教官なのよさ。
最初はハラハラしましたけど、こうなってくると緊張感のかけらもないですよね。どうして？
The result of going with the flow. Yumiko's attacks have been continuing without any particular change to date.
ユージもしっかり相手しちゃうから。
And there is no pleasing you.
I like how his dodge is like Orange Cassidy. He's just got his hands in his pockets. Like,
Just like, step back, step back.
yep. Just like, did I forget to fold the laundry?
Huh.
Look, could you quit it already?
うるさい。
Oh no. Her movements thrown off by my sudden sidestep, Yumiko staggers forward unsteadily. She tries desperately to regain her balance, resulting in a ridiculous pose in strong contrast with her usual haughty demeanor. Michiru lets out an involuntary giggle at the spectacle.
Oh.
She's gonna go after you with the knife, run! She's intensely pierced by Yumiko's furious glare, but not her box cutter.
ごめんなさい。
Wow. Ignoring Michiru as she cowers behind her desk, Yumiko storms out of the classroom in a towering rage.
言っちゃった。このところずっとリプレイを見せられているようです。
No, this is new content.
怖かった。何よあの目。相変わらず人を凍えさせるのに十分な威力を持ってるわよ。
チルチルにはきっと血の報復があるのよさ。
Oh, jeez.
ちょっとやめてよマキナ。
お楽しみに。
Not for her.
お楽しみに
You
じゃね
know, for everyone else.
Exactly. Scenes like this one were very familiar by now. With the exception of Michiru, everyone seems perfectly calm. Even if this little routine doesn't bother them, as a directly concerned party, it's problematic.
Hey, Amane.
In response to my call, she points to herself with her index finger, silently asking, me?
No, the other Amane.
When I nod, she approaches in her usual pointlessly sexy way.
なになにどうしたの？榊さんとの対戦格闘に疲れたから私の胸の中で安らぎたくなった？
Perhaps later.
Where's the choice for yes? Would you want that kind of sex worker treatment?
If we could pay.
ユージ君がそれを望むのならそういう日があってもいいかな？
Oh.
I'll be sure to keep that offer in mind, but that's not what I need today.
は？なんなの？
Why are you upset by this?
You've known her, Yumiko, for a long time, right?
そりゃ確かに多少は他の子よりかは付き合いも長いけど。
Ah, so were you the second student?
Any ideas about the reason she's rejecting me this intensely?
ごめん、わからない。ああいう子でしょ？正直、事務的なこと以外に話す機会もあまりないのよね。
How to replace the blades in your
What?
box knife, where to
Yeah,
buy
I
more
was- I
box
was like-
knives.
It's like, you think this blade's good enough to stab somebody? I see.
ユージ君も来たことだし、これから少しずつ話とかできればとは思うけど、今は私もほぼデフォルトに近い状態なのよね。
Maybe you just need to invest more points in charisma. Certainly, Yumiko hardly seems the type to open up and reveal herself to someone just because they've known each other for a while. I guess I'll have to find a solution myself after all.
Thanks anyway. Let me know if anything comes to mind.
With those words, I move to exit the classroom. If Yumiko's rejection continues to take this form, I'll have no choice but to ask the principal's advice again, which will not be helpful.
was about to say, we all know this would do nothing.
Mm-hmm. At the moment I open the door and prepare to leave,
仲間意識かな
I stop at the sound of Amane's voice.
Hmm?
ユージくんってさ、よそから来た人じゃん？そういうとこ、あの子は異物感があって嫌なのかもね。
That does make sense. She's saying the same things as the principal, huh?
Does it feel that way to you as well, Amane?
私はそんなことないわよ。ユージくんを全力で支援しちゃうから。
Well, I'm glad we have at least one.
You know, it's a little hard to take that seriously given the flow of this conversation.
ユージくんのこと、仲間だって思ったら、戦いも終わるかもね。
One of us.
One of us. I return to the dorm and wander the hallways without any particular objective. Compared to shutting myself up alone in my room, it's easier to gather my thoughts.
One of the group, huh?
I recall Amane's parting words. It's easy for her to say, but actually getting that island of a human being to recognize me as a friend seems next to impossible. First of all, we're not even on speaking terms yet.
Oh, this late already?
The sun is sinking below the window frame, casting shadows along the hall. About time for me to return to my room.
Guess I'll try talking to her tomorrow.
I scratch my head as I turn toward my bedroom. The sound of my slippers echoes roughly in the hallway. Yumiko might have her own set of internal rules, since she hasn't tried to attack me even once while inside the dorm. It's not that I was particularly off my guard as a result of this assumption, rather, it was probably because it happened at this particular time of day. Or so I would reflect myself later. Evening. A hallway in the dormitory lit by the setting sun. At the flash of thrusting light, I react instinctively and grab her arm firmly. With her arm captured, Yumiko's face stiffens. The box cutter, blade still extended, rattles around at her feet, turning in circles around the handle.
Trying for the element of surprise?
Yumiko's expression changes from shock to fear. That's what tips me off that I'm not wearing my peaceful face.
Sorry. It was so sudden I couldn't hold back.
I didn't want to frighten her. I thought I could play the normal student. I wanted to convince myself that I could.
Look, Yumiko...
Still gripping her arm, I look into her eyes and speak.
I'm not your enemy.
Yumiko's expression betrays uncertainty for just a moment. But just as quickly, it settles back into her customary mask.
But it doesn't look like you're convinced of that yet, so let me say one thing.
Releasing her arm, I pick up the box cutter lying in front of her feet. Carefully retracting the blade, I hold it out to Yumiko.
I won't cause you harm, and I won't pry into your business either. And that's a promise, so stop this. It's pointless. Observe me and reach your own conclusions. If I'm lying, you can always try stabbing me again.
Or slashing, as you seem to be more prone to. Stumbling, Yumiko retreats a single step.
Bye.
Turning around, I return to my room. Normally, Yumiko would seize such a chance to attack, but something's different now. Her elongated shadow is still, and the hallway is silent except for a small sound of her breathing. And also the sound of several trains apparently going by at one time.
Whoa, whoa!
Yep, that's just a hazard of living where I do. After that day, Yumiko's attacks came to an abrupt halt. The scenes of sudden violence disappeared from our classrooms and hallways. Although Amane barraged me with questions about the abrupt change, it wasn't really something I could talk about. I vaguely deflected her interest.
Like I did the knife.
Exactly. If I can use this as an opportunity to slightly improve my relationship with Sakaki, it's very welcome from the perspective of my normal campus life.
Yo.
As usual, to call Yumiko's behavior when we come across each other curt would be an understatement. But at the very least, judging from the clearly different way she's looking at me, her observation period seems to be ongoing.
あなたに質問があるんだけど。
Ooh.
Unless it's about my weakness, I'll answer.
Light type.
それを聞こうと思っていたのに。
Wow.
That's a shame. Come up with something else.
She occasionally talks to me like this, but instead of friendly chats about our lunch plans, we have investigative inquiries and careful negotiations. Even so, I suppose it's a considerable improvement over outright bloodshed.
いつか絶対に弱点を握ってやる。
It's my Achilles heel. Is that your idea of social interaction between classmates?
まだそうと認めたわけじゃない。
Oh, okay.
Acknowledge me.
Alright then. I open my hands in an exaggerated American-style shrug.
I look at the camera too and smile. There's a laugh track.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Well, good luck to you, Yumiko.
I think it's time to leave before she starts probing any further.
あのね、あなた。いい加減名前で気安く呼ぶのやめてくれない？
Seems like she's hung up on that point. After those events, I've been intentionally addressing Yumiko by her first name. The family name would actually be more appropriate here, but I've got a bit of a reason for doing this.
Says the woman who's never referred to me as anything but you.
だからといって、いきなり名前ってことはないでしょ。
So you're saying, as classmates, we should both use last names?
Yumiko's expression clearly reads, oh crap.
なんであなたと同等の立場で呼び合わないといけないの？
Based on combat experience, we're clearly superior.
You should use Sama. Based on that.
I mean...
Isn't that the starting point for building a cordial relationship?
だからといって。
Alright, in that case, I'll take our friendship to the next level by making up a pleasant nickname for you. You know you can do the same for me.
Oh hey, the box cutter's back.
You know, it might be a little early for that, so I propose starting with last names.
Yumiko hesitates briefly, but before long, she opens her mouth stiffly and in a tight voice.
よろしくね、風見くん。
I didn't hear you retract the blade. Still didn't retract the blade. After speaking those words with a cramped attempt at a smile, she stalks off.
Yep, best regards, Sakaki.
Thus, after great hardship, I finally succeeded in establishing an absolute minimum level of communication with my 5th classmate. Seems this student life thing is pretty rough in its own way. When I push open the heavy glass doors, I find the lobby in utter silence. Exchanging my outdoor use shoes for the slippers I use in my room, I reach for the board hanging above the shoe racks and flip the magnetic name tag reading Kazame Yuuji from out to in. A glance at the other name tags reveal that Sakaki, Sachi, and Amane are all in, but there's no one in the lobby. They're probably shut up in their rooms doing homework.
Hold on.
There wasn't any homework assigned today, which would mean my hypothesis just now can't be accurate.
Then what?
When students shut themselves up in their rooms, homework and masturbation are the only things that come to mind. Okay, that's very clinical. Although I gave the matter a little thought, I don't plan on going around and confirming my new conjecture. That's probably for the best. It's just a guess, and no matter what sort of vile filth they're getting off to, that's their prerogative.
I like how he just goes with it. He's like,
It's like, I'm not...
yeah, I guess that's it.
I'm going to keep the hypothesis, but I'm going to make no attempt to actually prove it.
Not yet.
Yeah. In this case, pretending not to notice would be the kinder thing. Having reached that conclusion, I reach out to the door of my room, but... in doing so, I notice that the bit of tape I stuck on my door as a seal has been ripped off. Somebody's been in my room.
Someone's in the room.
Backing away from the door for a moment, I quietly press my ear against the wall, but I can't hear any noises from inside. It doesn't seem like a typhoon is laying waste to the room in my absence, but either way.
If it's someone stupid enough to miss the tape, well, no need to be too careful.
I forcefully swing open the door to my room. Oh, well, I'm gonna have some work.
Yep, you're gonna have to definitely fix that in post. Don't move.
So, what brings you to our room? Why are you changing here?
びっくりした。急にドア開けないでよ。
Makes no attempt to cover herself.
What are you doing in here? Who called this room? It's not my birthday. You've got the wrong room.
Oh my gosh.
ごめん。予想外の反応。前にいた学校じゃ誕生日に友達が寮の部屋にストリッパーを呼ぶようなサプライズがあったわけ？
You're very relaxed about this.
Yeah, I was about to say, taking it really well.
Yeah.
Amane, why are you in my room?
なぜって言われてもな。この部屋で着替えるのはいつものことだし。
Couldn't you just do it in your own room? Amane points to a large overnight bag lying on the floor, presumably containing her spare clothes. I wonder if I should increase the opacity of the bar. That's probably fine.
I was about to say, yes, it will not matter.
Probably not.
この部屋だけ冷蔵庫が大きいのよ。いっぱい買い物した時とか、この部屋の冷蔵庫を使わせてもらってるの。
And why are you naked?
Half.
そりゃあ、着替えてるところにいきなり踏み込まれたからでしょ？学校から帰ってすぐに買い物に行きたい時はここで着替えるのよ。
Fair?
I guess. But you've got your own room, right?
私の部屋2階だし、面倒じゃない。
Oh.
Stairs.
Alright. When I was a grade schooler, I had friends who'd throw their bags by the door after school so they could get back outside faster. I guess her brain works on the same level?
着替え、続けてもいい？
It kind of makes sense in like a 50-50 kind of way.
Yeah.
Fine, I suppose.
そんなところに突っ立ってないで入ったら？
Oh. It's not what I was expecting.
You know, I'll come in whether you invite me or not. It is my room.
I walk into the room, hold a glass under the faucet in the sink, and fill it up with tap water.
あのさ。
Then I pour it over my head. What?
I swig down tepid water from the glass.
普通入るかな？
Actually, what? Your sentence is missing both a verb and an object.
Good time for a lesson.
いや、だからさ、女の子が着替えてるんだよ。普通遠慮しない？
He's kind of unflappable, actually.
You know, I'm not a normal man, and you were the one who barged into my room.
それはそうなんだけれども。
Well, if you don't want to be seen, how about being frank about it and telling me to get out?
But she's Amane.
失礼ね。見られて困るような体してないわよ。
Want me to stick a 20 in your panties?
だからストリッパーじゃないっての。
You know, if you say so, you seem pretty used to this.
Yeah, actually.
そりゃこっちのセリフよ。そうやってビール片手にテレビで野球観戦する親父みたいにじっと見られても落ち着かないじゃない。
All I know is it's a double play.
I was about to say, I was thinking more like softballs, but...
You know, if you didn't want to be seen, you should have said so from the start. I'll be outside. Call me when you're done.
いいわよ。すぐ着替え終わるから。
Okay, do you want us in or out? Make up your mind.
What a troublesome woman. And what do you want from me?
そこでおとなしくじっとしてなさい。
Nice.
All right.
感想とかいらないから。
All right, no commentary. Fine.
You know, I mean, that pretty much is our job. That's what we do.
Well, yeah. Returning my empty glass to the sink, I turn my back on Amane for the moment. Breaking into my room as she pleases, throwing her tits around as she pleases, and then getting pissed at me as she pleases. I don't have any real obligation to be considerate of someone like that. But, well, this kind of thoughtfulness is what keeps society moving smoothly. I don't think this is your typical societal situation, but alright.
ねえユージくん
Yes?
What?
君なんだか妙に女慣れしてるよね。お姉さんとかいるの？
Why do I have the feeling that our master was just completely unbothered by anything?
Well, I did have one.
いたって今はいないの？
Oh.
She's dead.
そっかごめんね無神経なこと聞いて。
Okay. He is serious.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be like the Simpsons. Dead serious about blah 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 blah.
No, I think he's just deadpan.
Yeah. It's been years. Not a problem.
じゃあさ無神経ついでにもう一つ聞いてもいい？
What?
お姉さんの名前は？
Kazuki.
和樹？
You know, I know it's a weird name for a girl. It's actually written with the characters for one and princess.
珍しい名前だね。
Why do you ask?
別にただの興味本位。
I see.
My sister is a topic I'd preferred to avoid as much as possible. Not because it's too painful to remember her death, or anything sentimental like that. I just don't want to get in a heavy mood for no reason. Maybe Amane picked up on my reaction, since she doesn't ask me anything else about the subject. Although she's a troublesome, selfish woman, I can honestly appreciate that part of her.
お待たせ着替え終わったよ。
You know, I wasn't really waiting.
どう？似合う？
Huh?
Now that I look, Amane is wearing a pointlessly skimpy outfit. Even if it is summer, this is a bit over the top.
You know, too much exposure. You're barely staying in that thing.
はあいいのいいの。せっかくいいの持ってんだから半分ぐらいちらつかせておかないと損じゃん。
Fair enough.
A waste of resources.
この格好で商店街に買い物に行くとなぜかみんなサービスしてくれるのよね。
Can't imagine why. This woman's trying to disrupt the economy of the shopping district via her tits?
あーって何よ。
Nothing at all. You know, if you're done, and hurry up and go. You know, the dirty old men at the shopping district are clutching their 20s in anticipation.
そうだね。そんじゃあ行こうか。
Wait, we're going to? As she speaks, Amane grabs my arm like a border patrol agent seizing an illegal immigrant from Mexico. Ooh, that timing though.
Ooh.
Okay.
What are you trying to pull? Get off.
Us.
ねえお買い物に付き合ってよ。
Why do I have to come?
今日は10キロのお米を買うから運ぶの手伝って。
Even if you don't rope me into this, with that huge body 10 kilos shouldn't be an issue.
Isn't her didn't her bio say she's like 6'1" or something?
I don't remember. I didn't catch it
I
because
think
it
it
went
did.
by pretty quickly. But yeah, I mean, she is tall. Or so I thought, but courteously didn't put into words. We are dealing with a woman here, technically speaking. In the first place, she's only large for a woman. I'm 5 or 6 centimeters taller. I guess Amane's gotten sick of me staring at her silently as she jerks me closer by the arm she's grasping.
おっぱい見せてあげたじゃん。買い物ぐらい付き合ってくれてもバチ当たんなくない？
I don't remember asking to see her breasts. This woman's logic is completely incoherent. Maybe it's just me, but isn't this roughly equivalent to the way that Gestapo would arbitrarily execute What is with this commentary?
God.
What the hell? Y'all can read it. I'm not reading it.
なになんか不満そう見るだけじゃ足りないならもんどく軽くつまむ程度に
Oh, now we're getting somewhere. Hold on. I mean, technically, the offer was more.
Yeah.
So, you know. Also, like, a 10-kilo bag of rice, it's not that bad.
Fair.
It's not that bad.
No.
I feel like it's a trade, you know?
It is indeed a trade,
All right.
yes.
You know, if you think a flash will make any man do your bidding, you've got another thing coming. No, she doesn't.
Not yet, anyway.
まあまあどうせ暇なんでしょうちの学校今までは男子っていなかったから力仕事は全部私に回ってきたのよかわいそうだと思わない
Yeah, it does.
You know, when you've got a physique like that, I think it's probably inevitable.
これからは電球が切れてもユージくんがいれば安心だねそんじゃ行こうか
As she speaks, Amane intertwines herself around my arm, pushing her famous breasts onto me. What is she, KFC?
The delightful herbs and spices. Hey.
わっちはこう見えても休暇を実家に持つ母親の娘ぞ本来であれば裸を見たあんたには責任取って結婚してもらうところよ
We can probably dodge that. The fact that I just spent a good second thinking about anti-helicopter mines is, frankly, completely ridiculous. But the world has been seeming like an extremely ridiculous place recently. No point in getting too down on myself.
Fine. You just needed me to carry the rice, right?
そうそう最初からそうやって素直にって言ってりゃ可愛いのにね
Not interested.
You know, I've heard it's better not to be loved by God or big women if you want a long life.
What?
何それ
Good question.
Joke. Let's get going.
ちょっとやだ待ってよ
Let go of my arm. I don't need you clinging all over me. It's stifling.
本当は嬉しいくせにってあれユージくんなんかいい匂いする香水とかつけてる
Why are you sniffing us?
What's Kalagna?
It's like Bologna.
Don't press your nose against me and snuffle. You're not a dog.
Honestly, carrying some rice isn't really that big of a deal. But if I had agreed from the start to save myself the effort of resistance, it's easy to see that she'd take that as a license to push increasingly unreasonable requests on me. If you're smart, you start rejecting people's requests at 80% of your real tolerance level. Interesting.
I go higher than 80%.
I'm aiming for 99.5. Women's shopping methods can be broken down into two patterns. Type A throws anything that catches her eyes into her cart, whether or not she has any need for it. Type B deliberates endlessly over cost efficiency, even when she has a pressing need, and ends up buying nothing.
The Miyako system.
My impression of the woman named Amane, probably influenced by her large build, was that she was likely the careless sort who'd follow the former pattern. But apparently, I'm not much of a judge for these things.
次は八百屋さんに行こうか
What? You're still buying? If you needed vegetables, why didn't you get them at the supermarket just now?
スーパーより商店街の八百屋さんの方が安いんだもの
Oh, that's fair. I understand in theory that specialty shops are better than general retailers, but as the one being dragged around, changing stores this rapidly is a serious nuisance. Because Amane mentioned that she wanted to buy oolong tea, I'd reached out for a 2-liter 158 yen bottle at the supermarket, only to have her slap my hand away lightly. In her words, "Don't buy that here. Get the tea packs at the drugstore and you can make 52 liters for 480 yen, or something." And so I ended up following her to the drugstore as well.
すみません玉ねぎと人参くださいな
お、あまねちゃんいらっしゃい。今日も可愛いね。
でしょねえ、奥さんに内緒でおまけしてよ。
Oh my god. Wow.
あまねちゃんにはかなわねえな。よし、そんじゃおじさん、いちごのパックをおまけしちゃおうかな。
Wow.
嬉しい。いいの？
あまねちゃんだけのサービスなんだから、みんなに言っちゃダメだぜ。
ありがとう。いちご、マキナが大好きなのよね。
そういや、今日はマキボウは一緒じゃねえんだな。どうしたい？
はあ、今日はお米も買ったからタフな荷物持ちを連れてきたの。
Hello, I am Luggage Boy.
ああ、
Growling, the dirty old greengrocer sizes me up with a blatant scowl on his face.
なんであいつは気に入らねえ目つきしてやがるな。
そう嫌わないでやってよ。私の弟なんだから。
弟？なんで弟かよ。俺はまたてっきりあまねちゃんがろくでもねえ男と付き合ってるのかと思ってよ。
I'll be honest.
おじさん早合点しちまった。
She's really smart.
Yep. I'm not sure what's so funny, but the greengrocer cackles heartily as he stares into my face.
はい、ボス。名前は？
Yuuji.
そうか、ユージか。いい名前じゃねえか。姉ちゃんの手伝いしてやれえな。よし、おめえにもイチゴやるから食え。
Pat, I'm going to break your arm.
ビタミンが足んねえからそんな人殺しみてえな面になんだ。栃木のブランドイチゴだぞ。食え食え。
Thank you.
I smile and lower my head in a slight bow, prompting the old man to shout, "What? You can smile after all?" in an even louder voice.
じゃあおじさん、ありがとうね。
おう、また来な。サービスすっからよ。ユージもな。
Of course, thank you.
And this is how I got free strawberries.
あんた、その顔やめな。
What are you talking about?
そのひどい笑顔、まるで誰かに習ったみたいな顔だね。
That's because it is.
You know, you're strangely perceptive at times.
あんたってさ、たまにそうやって顔で嘘つくよね。そういう家系なの？
I don't know, my family's all dead.
Fake smiles are an expression of consideration for others. You want me to scowl instead?
だったらもう少し上手に笑いなさいよ。バレバレよ。
I was taught that children's smiles and women's tears are weapons. But this is the first time my own emotional front was penetrated like this. I may have been underestimating this woman.
またそうやって怖い顔する。そんな顔するからマキナが怖がるんだよ。
I was born with this face.
へえ、じゃあ、あんたのお姉ちゃんもそんな顔だったわけ？
No, she had her own.
My sister was... Yeah, well, in her case, she always had this sleepy expression.
ふん、そうなんだ。
Why bring up my sister there?
まあ、なんとなく。
More importantly, are we finished shopping yet?
あとはお豆腐屋さんで絹ごしと白滝を買うだけ。
We're still not done.
Just carrying rice. So I'd been promised when I agreed to this shopping expedition, but in the end, I ended up following her around for a good 2 hours.
買い物に付き合ってくれてありがとう。助かったわ。
As she speaks, Amane is packing away the ingredients she purchased, for some reason into my refrigerator.
普段は
No, that
マ
was
キナと
already
一緒
covered.
に行くんだけど、あの子と買い物に行くとスーパーのお菓子売り場とかおもちゃ屋さんに寄り道したがるから時間かかるのよね。
It's not a problem, but mind if I ask you something? Why are you putting that stuff into the fridge in my room?
だから
But yeah,
この部屋の冷
She already
蔵
did
庫が
mention
一番
that.
大きいんだってば。
I know, a rare miss for him.
you know, that's not the answer to the question.
Yeah, it is.
いいじゃない。どうせろくに使ってないんでしょ。あ ほら、いちごあげるからさ。
Alright.
That's from the pack the old man at the grocer's gave me.
私がいたからもらえたんじゃない。冷蔵庫の中の牛乳も飲んでいいからさ、ね。
It's not that I particularly care about her using the fridge, but her barging in here every time she needs to get something would be a pain in the ass.
そうだ、今日のお礼に晩ご飯作ってあげようか。
I've already cooked rice and I've got canned food for the side dishes, so I'll pass.
Bachelor chow.
おかず、缶詰なの？なんかわびしい感じ。それにお米って炊飯器もないのにどうやって炊いたの？
Well, I go outside and I build a fire.
Using that over there.
I point toward a cylindrical mess kit style rice cooker made of aluminum, currently towering over the IH cooking heater in my kitchen.
飯盒で炊いたの？
IH heaters can't quite manage aluminum, so, I've been using a gasoline stove I had with me instead.
サバイバルだな。よくそんな道具持ってたね。
I mean, it's only normal for a man to have a stove or two.
Normal for a man is probably an overstatement, but it's standard equipment for a backpacker, at least. Ideally, you want one that can use the unleaded gasoline you can get from gas stations.
それじゃあさ、ご飯持って私の部屋来る？おかずが缶詰だけじゃ寂しいでしょ？どうせマキナの分も作るんだし、一緒に食べようよ。
How is she gonna feel about that?
No, pal.
どうして？心配しなくても、こう見えても私、料理は得意なんだよ。
Makina would be there, wouldn't she?
ああ、そっか。マキナ、まだユージ君のこと怖がってるか。
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I think it'd be better if I wasn't there.
この際だから仲良くなってよ。
It's not gonna happen that fast, and if I go out of my way to eat quietly, she'll end up feeling even more uncomfortable, so I'll pass after all.
まあ、今日は仕方がないとしても、マキナと仲良くなってくれれば、いつだってご飯作ってあげるよ。
Sold.
You telling me to become friends with her in exchange for food?
I don't see a downside to this.
そうは言わないけどさ、仲良くしてほしいっていうのは本音。あの子、ああ見えて友達作るの下手だからさ、ユージ君の方から声をかけてあげてよ。
I don't have anything against her, and I don't want to be on hostile terms, so I'll try and talk to her. But I'm not going to guarantee that it's going to improve things between us.
At least she probably won't start wielding a box knife against us. Since my personality is what it is. In response to my implied statement, Amane answers that's good enough with her smile.
じゃあ、今日はありがとうね。
As soon as the words are out of her mouth, Amane briskly leaves the room, but...
Oh, hey, wait, you forgot.
The overnight bag packed with Amane's spare clothes is still lying in the center of my room.
That woman. She isn't planning to change in my room again, is she?
Absolutely. More to the point, I'm sure I locked this door when I left this morning. How did she even get in here? She made a spare key. There aren't any signs of damage to the lock, and I can't imagine she's got a secret talent for lockpicking. Does she have a spare key or something? Suo Amane. The creatures known as large women are mostly careless, but weirdly attentive to certain details. They possess unusual intuition, as well as pointlessly large breasts, and on the whole deserve to be handled with caution. Seriously, what are you, David Attenborough? Alright, I think this is probably a good point to stop this episode.
Yep.
We've had quite a lot between getting introduced to multiple students and having multiple attempts on our life, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
And a shopping trip, which is, of course, standard for these kinds of games. Although,
It really is.
I wasn't expecting to see as much of Amane before the shopping trip.
Oh, yeah.
we're just going right into it. I guess that's kind of the pace of this game. We'll see if that continues. I guess I'm
Yeah.
going to have my work cut out for me. That's okay. It'll be perfectly fine. Maybe. I'm enjoying it, though. I feel like we've gotten some more aspects of Yuuji's personality, because at first I thought he was just super sarcastic and dry-witted, but I'm beginning to think that it's not just that. He's also just hopelessly dense when it comes to women, which, again, pretty standard for an MC. I want to know more about his master.
Me too.
I have the feeling that's going to come up at some point in the future. I don't know when. Maybe she'll just show up at the school and there'll be something. There's another character, another voiced character that we haven't seen yet, so I wonder if maybe that's her.
I'd be surprised if we didn't.
Me too. Well, I think that's all I've got. Do you have anything else?
Nope, I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much for watching. We hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we hope to see you in the next one. For now, we are the Bridge Boys, signing off.